according to Ntia from Esther Ayensu best is over on Facebook NDC community kese update ni de akosubia Esther Ayensu wo so kwa say chese maame no de ato ne ene de e kire say ye tete say Justice Torkono breaking news asa abeto dwan say wa resign from office na ye tete say allege and ye bisa because it breaking news and say maame Torkono wa resign still into way straight up and some a drop in take what you're saying MDC update no the mind because it's part of one of the agenda of 128 days no 120 days in Mahama government no into bezumi in ya could take a chairman general the whole chairman general on the neck as Torkono breaking news allege a chance Torkono are resigning from office Nyamisha state
secretary or regional
they can also help.
They can also help. You scratch my
back. I scratch
so
your back.
There is
well.
that temptation. So we're conscious about that, and we put in measures to limit that temptation as much as possible. What did we do? After we have received the shortlist, we then opened some space for petitions to be submitted to us about the shortlisting that had happened at the regional.
If anyone was not satisfied with the process.
If you are not satisfied with the process, you may apply for us to review the selection. So we did not make some huge announcement about that, because if you are not satisfied, you feel it, you try and pursue your right upwards. But if you just announce it, then it's like you are doing the race screening in Accra. Each one of the 40 or so candidates would think that, well, if there is this opportunity, I wasn't shortlisted, let me go for a second chance. And it will not be necessarily those who feel hurt. But in the party that we know, when people feel hurt, it has been our practice even in in internal party election. Wherever people feel hurt, they bring appeals. So we received those appeals and spent some time adjudicating on those appeals first. So when we receive an appeal from a region or set of appeals from a region, we invite the regional executives to come and sit with us. And then let us go through this together. In some extreme cases, we even call for the raw scores of the process that led to the selection of the three. Okay. But our approach was that if your region selects people for you, they are your representatives there. If they select people and you come to Accra and say that, well, we have gotten evidence that these other people were better qualified, so we are discarding what you have brought, it impacts on the image of your executives at the regional level.
Sure.
So what we said is that more inclusion is better than exclusion. So you have brought these three, but these petitions, we have evaluated them and found out that they are meritorious. So we are not going to take anybody from your three. We are adding this one or these two to it, so that instead of interviewing only three, our work becomes more difficult by interviewing 4 or 5.
So it wasn't a case of names being smuggled. There was a reason why you added a third or a fourth or a fifth person.
Yes. People who have appealed against their disqualification at the regional level. And when those names come, we don't do it as a committee exclusively. We invite the regions to justify why those names were dropped. And after they bring their justification, we evaluate it against the evidence that has been submitted by the appellants. And when the appeal is carried, then we add the name.
What about what we have been hearing in 1 or 2 instances where we are told that these were not people who were even disqualified. They were not even people who even applied for the positions or were not part of the process. The next thing they heard was that so and so person from their area has been added to the list. And I don't know if a few of that got your attention.
If I get through the process, you will understand.
Sure.
So, and then in a particular region, and in some difficult constituencies, which we consider to be difficult as far as NDC chances of winning is concerned, when we are going to elections, at times it becomes difficult for anybody to even accept to contest on your ticket. So what we do in Ashanti region is that if you accept to contest on our ticket in a place like Bantama, Manshia, where the likelihood of you winning is like a donkey going through the eye of a needle, you are not going to waste your resources, your time, your energy for nothing. After the election, if we win, we will consider you for appointments. So in Ashanti, unless a PC decides that he's not interested, we invited them to join. And when the short list came, there were places where the PCs were part of the short list. There were places where the PCs were not there at all. So we invited some of them to come on board. Again, when we got the short list and then the appellants and so on who have been cleared, their names added, we contracted 2 agencies, a polling company, to go and do opinion polls in all the districts.
That's a lot of work.
Yes. In all the districts. So, and the sample size was very significant. Between 6,000 and 8,000 individuals interviewed in each of the districts. Okay. So out of their work, they were able to give us an idea as to who is more popular. And even they did a lot of segregation also down there. They are able to tell you among the MPP residents in that district, the persons, liking in among the MPP, among the NDC, hardcore NDC, among other parties, and then those who are not prepared to disclose their party affiliation, and those who are clearly not partisan at all, they are ordinary citizens. So for each of the 3 candidates, we are able to know how they will fare. And there is an idea as to the likelihood of their being approved by the assembly. Okay. In some cases, it was through telephone. And so it took about 1 month or so, or 3 weeks or something. So they had a way of doing that work. And so, but knowing that there is a temptation to pursue self-interest at whatever level, since we are all human beings. So we, as part of the poll, we said that they should put in a questionnaire that will elicit, the right person, even if he's not among the short list. So there was a question as to, there was an answer which says none of this. If none of this, name who you think can be the DCE.
And they put some names there.
And they put some names there. And interestingly, in about 10 or 15 districts, none of these scored highest. Some as high as 60%. of the respondents. And then when they say, if none of this, who do you want?
And they put a name there.
And they put a name there. And each of them, not knowing who is talking to who, they were not talking to each other, a name will emerge that enjoys about 60% of support in that constituency.
That is interesting.
So it tells you that clearly there's somebody who is most preferred by the citizens, but there is
somebody found a way to eliminate the person.
To eliminate that person. So when that thing happens, we invite the person to come and participate in the interviews.
I see.
And in about 10 cases, they emerge the best.
So clearly there were some underhand dealings.
Yes, so you know that this one, somebody wanted to pursue his personal interest but was exposed. Okay. So in some of the cases, that are the areas where people are complaining, but this man was not part of it because they know they have successfully silenced the person and sidelined him. But the system has brought him up. And he has come to top the interview. So we have to
add the person to the list.
His name, yes, add him, suggest his name to the president for consideration. You understand? So some of the complaints that are being made that some way, somehow, the committee itself went and selected people outside the list and so on and so on. This is the reason. It's a way of checkmating each other at whatever level. And our work too, we put in a system to checkmate ourselves as individuals too. So where maybe if it concerns your region and we know you are weak there, you may have some interest there. The other members of the committee will know how to deal with your case.
Okay.
Okay. So that is part of the work that we did that generated. And some of the names that we discovered and added are among those that have been announced. And some of them scored 100%.
So you went through all this just to get a final three.
Then apart from the opinion polls by the professional pollsters, we also engaged the NIB. And they also did
a background check.
Okay. And also ranked the same nominees according to the likelihood of their acceptability and all that. So they also provided their report. And so we did not so by the time we were taking decisions, we had 4 reports. One, as I told you, the party structure itself had gone through the process and generated names and added. And so we also requested that at the regional level, give remarks justifying each of the candidates you put there. So it's like the region also recommending people.
So person.
So this person is like this. This is the reason we are putting this person there. This is the reason we are. So that's a full report available to us. And we have the pollsters report that is also available to us. And then we had the B&I report that is also available to us. So our work, so all these 3, we committee members couldn't have influenced any of them.
Could there be a chance where all the 3 were reporting different things?
Yeah, there are cases where they report different things.
Wow.
So it means that one report will be checkmating the other report.
Kind of.
Yes. So that is a way of finding out as much as possible, as much as humanly possible, who the best nominee will be. So we took all these reports and said that, look, we are now going to conduct face-to-face interviews. These people have reported this way. These people have reported this. We have a 3rd from the party, so 3 reports are there. Let us meet the human beings
yourselves
behind the reports ourselves. So if you have a way of influencing one or two of the reports, when you come to sit with us, we test you pound for pound, test your leadership ability, test whatever we think we must get from an MC or DC, you know. So our work, the face-to-face interview was the last phase of our work.
I like that one, pound for pound.
Yes, and that one too, we arranged the table. If you entered the interview room, each of the panel members was positioned in a place where you cannot see your colleagues' scores. 7 of us. And then the nominee, the applicant will be sitting there. Mm-hmm. So we took turns in interviewing them. Each was allotted a time. Each was allotted the area, the subject area where your questions would come from. So if, say, for instance, as the chairman of the committee, I would have to test the leadership capacity of the person. My questions will have to deal with the leadership. Mm. Somebody will be testing about the work experience of the person, whatever executive position he may or may not have held before, which positions him to be an effective DCE compared to the city or district he's going to manage. Okay, so somebody will test that one. Another person will test his knowledge in local governance. Another person will test him or her on our manifesto commitments, because they are the grassroots who will be at the forefront of implementing our manifesto commitments. So we do all this. And whilst each panelist is asking their questions, each of us will be assessing and putting down marks. We have a score sheet where, there are marks. Based on your responses, yes, we grade you. There are marks for each segment. So we will all grade them, the 3 or 4 candidates or whatever number the case may be. Then after that, we collect all the marking sheets and then do the tally. So it is after the tally that even us as individuals are able to know who won. So if as a chairman, even if I have the weakness of influencing the process in favor of somebody, my capacity to do it is very limited. Because you alone, if everybody else scores the person low and you score the person 100%, it cannot change the average. You see. So that system also took care of our individual weaknesses as human beings. Mm. You see. So, and you cannot have a perfect system. Sure. When God created beings, he left the angels in heaven. They are perfect. We are not. They brought those of us who are not perfect. Who are fallible. They brought us here. So you can't have human beings who are perfect. But the important thing is that, do you have people who want to do wrong things knowingly, or who do their best, except that their best is not perfect? And that is what some of us try to do. Mm. That we don't do wrong things knowingly. Okay. And we try to suppress our own personal interests in favor of the group interests. Mm. But it is not all human beings who are like that. It's like, even when it comes to election, and somebody campaign against him or her, then he becomes the permanent enemy for life. So you have campaigned against me before. Now that I find myself in this position,
I'll show you where power lies.
I have to show you where power lies. That is where we put in these systems that will check such conduct so that we can get the best material for the job. And we are of the opinion that one of the qualities of leadership is your ability to select the right persons for the right jobs. Putting round pegs in round holes and square pegs in square holes. If as a leader you are able to get that right, then your chances of succeeding will be high. Okay. But if you follow other considerations, and then knowing that somebody is the best material for a particular position, but because he or she may not like you, so let's put him somewhere and put somebody, quote unquote, you call my person there. That your person, so-called your person, will cause your downfall. Because he is there not to perform the work you've assigned him, but he is there to just do your bidding. So after, if it is voting that you want the person to vote for you, after he has voted for you, it's completely useless in
the scheme of things.
The other things. So I'm
saying now, subscribe to my YouTube channel, no? Like and share, never comment, and social comment section. My ever brand I can make for and actually for you to stay tuned, stay connected.